excited to present to you the development report on People's 105.5 FM Abuja. The development report focuses on critical development issues, particularly on Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, women, climate change, health, water, environment, and other topics relating to human progress and societal well-being. Join me, Ife Onyekwere, every Saturday from 12:15 p.m. The development report towards collective action in support of development. All right, let's look at data surrounding energy transition. The world is gradually shifting from fossil fuel to renewable energy sources. And as of 2023, renewables account for nearly 30% of global electricity generation in the world, with solar and wind leading the change. Bringing it down to Africa, Africa is abundant in renewable energy potential, especially in solar power. However, report says the continent still relies heavily on fossil fuels, with about 40% of the population lacking access to electricity. Now, coming down to Nigeria, it says Nigeria is Africa's largest oil producer, but is increasingly focusing on diversifying its energy mix. Now, this concerns us because report says Nigeria actually aims to generate 30% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2030. How close are we? Well, and efforts including expanding solar power projects and improving energy access in rural areas. However, challenges such as regulatory hurdles, infrastructure gaps, knowledge gap, and reliance on oil revenues is slowing this transition. And that's why, in the light of this, we're discussing global energy trends. Some of us are seeing activities going on in the world. People are already catching up with what's going on. But what is it for us as a country here in Nigeria? How are we trying to meet up with, the goal, even the SDG goal of 2030? It's global energy trend, and we have in the studio Dr. Peter Ikwozo, MNI, who is a former minister of the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. And you can join this conversation today on telephone. You can call in on 0911-222-1055, and on WhatsApp you can send in a message on 0911-112-1055. All right, straight to the questions we have to discuss this. And so, Doctor, what would you say are the most significant energy challenges facing countries globally today?
Thank you, the audience. Good afternoon, everybody. Before I go into that, let me just interject by saying that Nigeria can actually surpass that 30% by 2030.
Amazing.
Why? Because we have the resources. The knowledge also exists, but not synergized. The institutions are there. The policies are there. And then the regulations are also in place. So all we need to do right now is action. Move into action. And it's not going to take this country more than 2 years from now to do all of that and achieve the desired level of energy mix that we need in the country.
Amazing.
But suffice that to say, looking at the global trends in the energy, because we cannot live in isolation, we are also part of the global community. The most significant challenges facing the world today is critical issue of climate change and environmental degradation.
Amazing. So,
also from the aspect of energy security, it's also an issue. Energy access, mainly in developing countries. Transition to renewable energy is also a problem for developing countries in view of the high cost of transiting. Aging infrastructure even in the developed nations, including U.S., Russia.
Okay, so it's not restricted to us.
Yes, it's a global phenomenon. Aging infrastructure is also there. Energy affordability, especially for developing countries, energy efficiency, political instability, mainly in developing countries. And also, it's also playing a part, even in advanced countries. Because when you see what is going in America, first, America was not part of the global climate treaty. Now they are back to the Paris Agreement. So, and there you also have different movements. Some don't believe in climate change, some do believe.
Even outside of Nigeria?
Yes. So it's a global thing. So that issue is a global phenomenon. And that's why negotiations at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the Conference of Parties, is always a topical issue. For over 27 years, the world has not been able to actually achieve so much in terms of what has been negotiated.
Okay.
But for developing countries, there are also issue of population growth and, of course, the need for urbanization. And Africa is key at that point. There's also transition away from nuclear power. Yeah, remember Japan, Germany, they're all trying to retrofit nuclear power. So all these are emerging, actually, challenges facing the global community achieving energy security globally. Now, when it comes to Nigeria, we can contextualize this discussion when we now come to Nigeria to see how can we, based on what we have, how can we get there and, of course, achieve the desired goal.
Yeah. Okay. I want us to focus on the global energy trends now, and that's the basis for this second question. Can you highlight some successful energy transition strategies that has been implemented by certain countries? That we actually feel like it's going to be a plus for us as a country, because the general ideology is everyone, is transiting, right? People are trying to, embracing cleaner energy, embracing, sustainable energy and all like that. So can you highlight some, energy practices that, have actually done well in some countries?
Yes, we have very successful examples. But let me come from the point of view of policy and institutional framework, and that's actually where you have the advanced countries doing better than developing countries.
Okay.
Yeah, because they put up a policy and they stick to that policy consensuously, and then implement that policy and follow the law.
Step by step.
Step by step. That's how they get there. For instance, a country like UK, as far back as 2013, and Scotland in particular, said they are going to achieve over 40% in their energy mix, 40% renewable in the energy mix. And then they set up the right policies called renewable incentive, renewable heat incentive, RHI. Now, what that renewable heat incentive means is that as a school, you can generate power, your own electricity using solar.
Even individual houses?
Yes, you can generate it and use it, and government allowed 5 years. Okay? Now, you can also generate it and sell to community microgrid at a price. For instance, if you are buying 8 naira from government, okay? If you are buying 8 naira from government will buy it from you at 10 naira. So you may generate solar in your house and decide to sell everything, and then you go and buy from government. So that renewable heat incentive will help UK, okay, to improve on their renewable, on their energy mix. Also, countries that are an exciting country is Japan, Germany. Germany adopted a policy similar to that. And hotels and remote areas of Germany, hotels were using solar, investing in solar, because it calls for a massive investment. They were investing in solar, but they have that, they are at liberty to invest in that solar, get incentive from government, because they can invest it and then sell to microgrid. Okay? Sell higher and then pay government lawyers. So every investor you are making a profit. So that encouraged private sector, encouraged institutions to invest in solar, to the extent that within 5 years from that date, Germany achieved over 25% within their energy mix. So Germany is an exciting example.
Can we actually, because this is actually very interesting to actually learn, and I believe people who are listening to right now are like, if we do it in our country, is it something that can actually work for us? Especially the point you highlighted, saying that people are allowed to generate their own energy. Is it not something we do here in our country? Because you see houses get solar themselves, away from the government, away from even the local government. They get frustrated by the power supply, and they go on their own, and then they generate, they partner with people who come to install solar and all like that. Is that not something relatable to this, or is it something different?
In terms of action, they are not the same. For instance, in my house, I decided to invest in solar, to buy solar. You may find out that you buy all the panels, you buy all the batteries, then after 1 week or 1 month, your battery dies. Because regulators are not checking on the standards of these batteries. So it will now take, no matter how much you invested, you find out that you are even wasting money. That it may be cheaper for you to even go back to NEPA, which is very epileptic. So these are the frustrations. But unlike these clients that I mentioned,
yes, sir,
there is standard. For instance, Germany, the battery, the storage, because storage solution is also key to achieving what your desired goal in renewable.
Talking about the standard, this is actually I don't know if I get you right. Talking about the standard, it could be we can actually link this to those who are the manufacturers or who are the ones in charge of the solar, right? This does not have to do with the government in any way.
No, it's all encompassing. For instance, it's government that is in charge of policy. It's government in charge of regulation.
Okay, so the standard of the ones that are being
of course, government should determine standard and ensure that the best of batteries come into Nigeria. That's the primary role of government. And the government can also come by way of encouraging institutions to invest in renewable and then support them. That we can support with incentives. Okay? There's also that support. When UK started their own renewable incentive, there was that support for 5 years. They were allowed tax-free. Certain things were put in place. Just to encourage people to make sure that renewable heat incentive and Green Deal was a huge success in Britain.
Okay.
And Germany borrowed the same line of, they used this in Germany. And I stayed in a hotel, in a remote hotel in Germany near Bonn. And I found out that the hotel man was supplying light, the solar, to a microgrid. And I asked him, why? Are you not using? He said no, that he makes a profit by selling to government, to the microgrid.
Amazing.
And then that he prefers to buy from the microgrid, but he has been encouraged. Like he will sell to them at 12 naira and then buy from government at 7 naira. So for that particular quantity of light, you have made 5 naira. You understand?
Yes.
So they did it, and Germany was able to achieve more than 25%. At a point, they were asking institutions to go reverse to renewable because they have so much.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. So I believe there's someone listening right now, because someone might be asking the question, okay, what is the essence, or why should we embrace, renewable energy? Why should we not stay back, doing the normal old things we're doing? Why are people transiting? Could you please answer that question?
That's an excellent question. When we say we need to go green in the country, and we are saying bringing the issue of cost that is very expensive, there's the issue of quality. For instance, for our agri products, okay, you use chemical fertilizer, you use all of this, all of that have certain emissions and all. And at the end of the day, what is the end product? It has a toxin, and you cannot export it. But if you go green in all the sectors, agriculture is inclusive, you find out that you come up with quality products at the end of the day. And this quality product meets European standard, American standard, that even a small farmer can export. That's the advantage of Nigeria going green at this point.
Now, talking also about the climate change effects, like this, what energy has, the impact it has on climate change. Can you also enlighten the public, because someone is actually asking?
Yes, in terms of climate change, Nigeria is a signatory to Paris Agreement of 2015. And Nigeria has committed to bringing down global warming by depositing a protocol called Nationally Determined Contribution. In that nationally determined contribution, Nigeria pledged to cut down a global emission by 47%. 27% unconditionally, 20% just on their own. And they pledged that in the 7 sectors of the economy. And these 7 sectors are the key life wires of the economy. Oil and gas, they pledged that in oil and gas, in energy, in transportation, in industry, in water resources, in the waste sector, including, I think I have mentioned, 7 sectors. So these 7 sectors, including agriculture, these are the life wires of the economy. So you cannot afford not to go green. Because if you go green, it will enable quality products in the marketplace coming out of these sectors. It will also help Nigeria to meet up with our global commitments. And we have this commitment. Nigeria has deposited what is called long-term vision, that by 2060, we are going to achieve net zero.
Wow.
We'll be involved in service sectors and production sectors without emission. That's the implication.
Wow. So we really have a lot to do.
We have a lot to do.
Yeah,
we have a lot to do.
We're going to go on a music break right now. And before we go on this music break, you can join the conversation. You can call in, opening the phone lines. You can call in, tell us what you feel about going green as a country. And are you also using renewable energy, or is it something you've thought about? Let's hear your opinion. And are you facing frustrations? Are you facing lack of support going green? Let's talk about this on the show as we discuss global energy trends. The numbers to call is 0911-222-1055, and on WhatsApp you can send in your questions or your message to 0911-112-1055. And that was The Land is Green by T.Y. Bello. Yes, that's the goal, to have a green land. All right, we're in the studio discussing global trends, global energy trends, and we have Dr. Peter Ikwozo, MNI, the former director, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, here discussing with us. You can join the conversation on telephone via 0911-222-1055. Let me take that again. You can call in on 0911-222-1055, and on WhatsApp you can send in your contributions to 0911-112-1055. We're discussing global energy trends. All right, Doctor, based on what we were discussing before we went on the music break, how would you say developed nations are incorporating renewable energy into their existing energy infrastructure right now?
Very nice. I mentioned specific examples, even though I did not exhaust the list, because in addition to Germany, you have Denmark. They're also doing very well in renewable energy. And also a developing country like Costa Rica is doing very well. Okay. China, despite the fact that they are the largest consumer of coal to date, but they are doing well in terms of using all the opportunities that exist in climate finance, in terms of accessing grants, okay, to help them develop various sectors of both solar and all of that. So they have actually achieved much, and they invested in research. And to date, China is still investing in research, because achieving green economy requires investment in research. But let us focus on the question you just raised concerning developed countries. How were they able to? They were able to achieve this by massively investing in renewable technologies. Like I illustrated the case of Germany. It's a shining example. In terms of the storage solution, they have superior battery and all of that. They achieved that global goal through research, hard work. It is not a game, hard work.
So this is a call to more Nigerians going into research on...
Research and hard work, and also being honest ourselves. Not to go outside and import fake battery. If you import fake battery, you are flooding Nigeria with electronic waste over time. Make sure you get superior battery that will give minimum 3 years guarantee. Okay? But that is not the issue.
Would you say there are policies in place to actually checkmate this? Because people bringing in stuff...
There are policies in place. There are. You remember, we have even institutions that enforce this. It's for us to be serious with our regulation and then make sure that we punish people who commit crime, because this is criminal against your country, against your economy. We have to be serious.
And it has ripple effect on our health.
It has ripple effect on our health. Okay? So they invested heavily in renewable technologies. They are, by way of policy support, like I've illustrated here, they will bring out a policy. Everybody is online. Even in Africa here, if I explain to you how Morocco is implementing their policy in agriculture, you'll be shocked. And that's why they have achieved so much in fertilizer. They are giant in fertilizer. Also in the renewable you are talking about, Morocco has gone far. It's by people being faithful to their country, being honest to their country, and not cutting corners. It is serious. If you cut corners, you cannot get there. It's not by magic. If you like, you can do all the prayers, you won't get there. So policy support, effective policy support. And these policies are available in Nigeria. Wow. But most of those policies are in the locker of the public sector. You know, so also, developed countries have been able to incorporate this in their infrastructure through what is called grid integration. In case of Nigeria, you will know that we have a national grid that is collapsing how many times in a month, and nobody is talking of good maintenance, investment in new grid, and all of that. So all these are issues. The developed countries, they have what is called grid integration, okay? Apart from their policy support, they also have energy storage solutions. Like I explained that case of Germany, being serious with their research in battery and making sure that their standard is their standard. You cannot go outside their standard. Yes. And there's also what is called community-based initiatives, which they are doing. Germany is super in that. Like I told you, the case of a hotel, that will generate solar. All the roof is filled up with solar panel. And I was wondering, what are you? He said, no, that is making money every month from those solar panels. That the solar panels, he showed me a microgrid, that the solar panel transmits light to the microgrid. And then he will buy light from the microgrid. The light he's using comes from the microgrid. But the light he's transmitting the electricity is transmitting from his house goes to the microgrid. He doesn't use it because he's making gain. It's part of investment in the hotel.
Is this a possibility in the Nigerian economy?
Why not?
Okay, so
knowledge in Germany is knowledge here. It's knowledge everywhere. This is a global community. So science is one language.
Okay, so I actually believe that if business owners or if people who own corporations are actually aware of this, they can actually, take the initiative or want to do what. Can you just break it down on?
No, government has to come in.
Oh, it has to be.
Yes, all these things I'm calling now, they are all enabled by government.
Or is there a possibility at which a corporation actually sets up its own solar panel and everything and then sells to other businesses?
Yeah, of course. That is called the energy retail. For me, in particular, I'm studying that to start implementing that in my village. Because you can generate it and sell to community.
Amazing.
Okay, at little or no cost. But the good thing President Bola Tinubu has done is to liberate the local government. That's the first restructuring. Major, classical, successful restructuring he has done. So if local governments can honestly, not going there to share money like it's being shared elsewhere, go there to invest Nigerian money in their local government. Local government can do what is called here community-based initiatives to generate power and then encourage small-scale industries, encourage technology clusters that will enable the young people to stay in the local government and work there and live there all their life without migrating to or even jackpot abroad.
Wow, this is massive. I want us to bring it down to our country here.
Yes,
okay.
And then talking about what you say, whether individuals. Yes, individuals in Nigeria can do what we call public-private initiative. There is also a law, providing that enabling environment for public-private sector to participate, called the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. So they are there to provide the enabling environment for individual businessmen to partner with government. Government will provide the policy support. Government will ensure that they get the necessary incentives that are already domesticated in our law. In the industrial, in the various policy acts of the National Assembly. The incentives are there. So it's for us to have the right mindset to achieve all of this. And we can achieve all of this within 2 years. We don't need 10 years to get there. That is the issue. So these are the things developed countries have done within their climb because everybody is moving. Nobody has started they started with industrial era. They are the people actually polluting. Africa is not polluting, it's very little, okay? But they have been they're now making conscious effort to transit. Electric vehicles, they're making conscious effort to transit.
Talking about transition, how would you measure, the transition of, Nigeria particularly to sustainable energy? How would you measure it in our country here? What are we doing?
I can tell you we are doing a lot. Again, I'll come by way of policy framework, regulatory framework, institutional framework. By way of all of this, Nigeria has done marvelously well because there are existing policies. There is the Energy Master Plan, Renewable Energy Master Plan, renewed and reviewed. There's Climate Change Act, approved. There's the National Council for Climate Change Commission, already put in place. That took us several years to fight for. It's already in place. So all these are enabling environment provided by government to transit. There's also the long-term vision. There's also the long-term vision. Now, talking of Nigeria's energy transition plan, various policies key into that energy transition plan. For instance, at the Federal Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, there is the policy called National Policy on Methanol Fuel Production Technology. Now, what that policy does, that policy adds value to our existing raw materials. It adds value to our natural gas resources. It adds value to our biomass, to our agricultural waste, to even waste dump. It adds value by converting the methane gas in these sources to methanol. Now, it will enable us to transit because they have allowed Nigeria and other developing countries that are rich in natural gas to use natural gas as a window to transit. Not that natural gas is renewable, no.
Okay, so
but it provides you, because in terms of emission potential, it's low. Okay. So it allows us, it gives us a medium level playing ground to move from dirty fuels, like fossil fuels, okay, and gradually move completely to renewable.
Okay, so for all these policies you've mentioned, are they just in paper or are they being implemented already?
Seriously, they are being implemented, but funding is an issue. When I was at the Federal Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, we made various pleas even to NNPC to provide enabling fund for modular methanol plant. They could not. Through budget could not. It's even sometimes, it's even the donor partners that will come by way, but when they come, they are not actually going to support you to achieve the raised result. It's to provide seminar, provide all of this. All these are like palliatives which don't go anywhere. Now, so we will still have to harvest our efforts to achieve that. And we must do that seriously.
Now, because we have limited time, this actually brings us to the question, because you mentioned something on grants and research, right? We have so many policies that will support people who really want to go into this and, embrace the green energy and all that. But how would you tell a young person listening, a youth, a young person, owner of a corporation right now, on how to invest in research and get grants, to actually get this working, so that it can be feasible to the ordinary, the common man, outside, the normal Nigerian. Let it not be that we're just talking about policies, but then the possibility is there, but the real thing is not being seen everywhere. Right? So what do these people have to do to invest into research and then get grants to be able to implement this? Because I believe if the private sector start taking this seriously, a lot of people would.
The issue of investment in research mainly is public sector driven, because issue of research is not always a short-term thing. But in terms of achieving, just the question you asked, in terms of telling the young people, I'm stating it to the young people that under Buhari administration, the Federal Minister of Science and Innovation has actually carried out comprehensive technology needs assessment for climate change mitigation and adaptation in Nigeria. And Buhari government was able to approve a national technology action plan for Nigeria on 3rd May 2023. So with this national technology action plan, technology gives you an access to climate finance. And the climate finance we are talking about is climate grant. So the young people need to now have that skill to write bankable proposals. This is the same thing China is doing. This is the same thing energy Germany is doing. All countries are doing that. Angola, 3-4 years ago, was able to access over $1 billion in grants. Grants through climate change. So it's for young people to master the act of writing the bankable proposals. And that document existing at the Federal Minister of Science and Innovation, there is for Nigeria. They can access it and then see the technologies that have been prioritized alongside agriculture, industry, and energy.
Amazing. A whole lot, have been learned from the conversation today, truthfully. And if you ask me, I think if we begin to partner, young people, if we begin to partner with, ourselves, begin to partner with organizations, even partner with the government, we can actually go a long way, because I believe Nigerians are very intelligent and very smart people. We have to call it a wrap here, but the conversation continues on the development report. You can follow me on Twitter at TDevReport for a continuation of this discussion. I'll take a moment to celebrate community champions who are turning trash into treasure. I always do this every time as we round off the show to celebrate everyone who is doing great in this aspect. Thank you to our esteemed guest for listening, and to our esteemed guest for sharing your expertise and insight, and to the audience for listening. Thank you so much. A heartfelt thank you to my amazing producer here with me, Miracle Festus. Thank you so much. And also to Charles Kalu. You can join us next week for another captivating episode of the Development Report, and we will continue our journey towards a brighter and more sustainable future. Here's a quote to think upon. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. I am Ife Onyekwere. Do have a wonderful weekend as we meet to discuss development issues. Same time next week. Bye.
The People's 105.5 FM brings to you the Development Report. Development Report dissects current development issues, sustainable development goals, climate change, women and health, water environment, human progress, and societal well-being with experts from different fields. Development Report showcases impactful projects and initiatives aimed at fostering positive change. Development Report comes to you on the People's 105.5 FM, Abuja, every Saturday from 12:15 p.m. to 1 p.m. You can also join the program via telephone 0911 222 1055 or send us a WhatsApp message on 0911 112 1055. Development Report towards collective action in support of sustainable development. People's 105.5 FM. It's all about you.
We inform, we educate, we entertain. We are the People's 105.5 FM, Abuja.